Hey everybody, good afternoon. We're going to go ahead and get started in just a minute or two. Wait for everybody to trickle in. Happy Friday. Everybody has staying warm. There's some great plans for this weekend. Hey everybody, thanks for joining. We're going to go ahead and get started in just another minute. All right, perfect. Going to go ahead and get started. Just in a minute. Right, perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining. Definitely appreciate it on this beautiful Friday, November 15th. Hope everybody having a great Friday and happy Friday. Hopefully it's towards the end of your day or it's a slower Friday. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about ECA and review workspaces, specifically for Relativity 1. So just going to go ahead and dive into the topic. So first up, we've got our ECA versus review. So our early case assessment, or ECA, is a set of workflows designed to reduce the volume of documents that need to be reviewed. Can be run in what's called a repository workspace, is the official title, according to Relativity. And so you're able to process and ingest data and use a number of tools to basically filter and sort and classify the data using that ECA workspace. And then the thought is to promote only a subset of what is needed into that review workspace. So what is a review workspace? It's basically what you probably consider to be your standard relativity experience. The main purpose is, of course, to review documents, hence the name review workspace. It's usually, when you're going to tag documents for responsiveness, privileged, all those kind of fun things. And you can use essentially all the available relativity tools that are built in that we know and love. Advanced analytics tools, even for predictive information, in Review Center using prioritization and coverage review. Tag documents, redact, produce, and then you can manage your case timelines, link to facts, so using case dynamics or of course error for case strategy as well. And so some of the workspace features, just to kind of touch on those, ECA workspaces, the general thought process is to reduce the overall cost by filtering unnecessary data. Can be paired with processing to filter incoming data before review. You get access to pretty much most of the analytics features that are available, maybe a little bit more than half that are available, and you can create data visualizations as well. You do have a limited number of document views, so it's not something to be aware of. And you also have ECA workspace feeds in your review workspace through document promotion. So with review workspaces, you have full access to all the relativity bells and whistles, unlimited number of document views. You've got access to Review Center allowing for the prioritized review or coverage review options, and then of course all the new lovely air tools that are available there. You can use transcripts, case dynamics to build those timelines, links, and facts, and produce those responses. And then you have the ability to redact and create production sets. And then if you still use batching and don't use a review center, you have the ability to batch that out. So why work with an ECA workspace? One of the main benefits is to analyze and visualize your data. And so by doing that, some of the basic features that the people use at a minimum, maybe like search term reports, and then you can also use like a date filter. But some of the analytics tools that are built in, you can use communication analysis. So if you look in the top right of the screen, you have little blue boxes, and they have all the lines. That is essentially the data set and how people are talking to one another. So just something to you can kind of dive into, see who is Andrew talking to? Has he been talking to other operations people? Which ones? Who does he communicate with the most? You can answer some of those questions. When emails are sent and received, how many? Things like that you can dive into. And I think we've touched on it previously, but also the communication analysis also has a dark mode feature. Love it, highly endorse it. Can't wait. Hopefully it's on the roadmap where they add it to relativity as a whole. So on top of communication analysis, you have your concept index, so you can see related terms and get an idea of the document content. So things like clustering. So if you look into the bottom right, you can kind of see like a little wheel that you have with the different colors. As the wheel goes from the center to the outside, the topic, that's the first color you see, is typically like a broader topic, and then all the subpoints that jut out of that as you kind of go further into the second, third, and fourth sphere, they're basically kind of subcategories is generally the way to think about that. So we have that available to you. And then, of course, you can use those dashboards, right, to filter on those dates, the different file types, the custodians, all those lovely features that you have as well. When to use ECA, just a few things, right? There's a document number limitation. I think it's 50 million documents is what you have that you can put in ECA workspace. Up to that, of course. Anything over that, Relativity will automatically move that to review. Some of the things were how the documents were collected, right? If you filtered the data set before made it into Relativity, maybe use like a purview, date range, search terms, those types of things, or no endorsement. But if you self-collected, maybe you won't need an ECA workspace. Or overall, if you have a very small subset of data, it may not be worth the time to move something from an ECA to a review workspace. And so all of those different features may come into play as to when you use like an ECA repository, or also have kind of like a review workspace, both. So processing in ECA, so best time to go ahead and get a head start with your data set is by processing in ECA. You have the ability to, of course, with that, extract all the metadata. If you have like an automated workflow that comes into place, you may image documents and then may OCR them before you build like a DT search index. And then, trimming down on that data set, you can definitely save a lot of money from an ECA to review by paring down that data set. So just some things to keep in mind as you go through. As we kind of touched on before, so what can you do, what can't you do in a repository? So some of those items that you see here, repository cans, you can have up to 10,000 document views per month, up to 10 concurrent users at the same time. Quick asterisk, that's also system administrators, so myself and my team, and clients collectively count together, up to 50 million documents. You do have the ability to run image and OCR, run the structured analytics. You've got that email threading, communication analysis, near dupe, language ID. Of course, you can run search term reports, can run those concept searches and the clustering that we saw previously. And then we have all those wonderful data visualizations. So page one has a number of dashboards that you can essentially see and view and kind of filter on the data set to get some insights into it up front. You can search that metadata in text, of course, process new data. And then by using the repository, you can really help kind of control the cost, one of the key elements, right? Kind of really everybody talks about, kind of like a funnel and being able to control your costs by whittling down the data set as you get down to review. So what repository can't do, you can't use things like markup sets. For those that don't know, markup set just are redactions on documents. That's not supported. Probably one of the other main things that people try to do typically that we see is try to like mass PDF documents from the interface. So you can't do that as well. Can't download the native. So those things are kind of restricted. Can't run productions. And then there's also certain applications that are locked down, such as you have Review Center, Air, and some of the other items as well. So just wanted to quickly kind of touch on something also that we find some people typically have questions about. And so when you have an ECA workspace and a review workspace, there's typically a way to promote data. It's typically what's called integration points. And so that is pushing that data from an ECA to a review workspace. So in a hypothetical situation, right? I'm a client, law firm, I collect 100 gigs of data. I put that in an ECA workspace. I want to run like a date range, maybe some search terms against the data set. I kind of whittle that down to, let's say, 20 gigs of data. And so I want to push that 20 gigs into that review workspace so I can kind of review, hopefully use cool tools like Air, and then go ahead and produce them from there. So essentially what we're going to do is use integration points, going to build out a profile and map and push those documents over. You do have essentially one kind of key point to note is there's an option to link the file. So that will copy the path in the review workspace that points back to the reference in the ECA workspace, or you have the ability to actually copy the native into that review workspace. So it then would live in your ECA workspace and would also live in your review workspace. So just something to note there. If you do link it, right, linking helps control costs. But if you do have an instance where you want to essentially delete the ECA workspace and they're linked, you just have to be aware that if you delete the ECA workspace without pushing a copy of the native over, the native link will be broken in the review workspace. So long story short, essentially what I'm saying is, if you do have an ECA and review workspace, please be mindful of that if you are, kind of like removing one and not the other. You may just want to kind of talk to, the page one support team, whoever support team you're working with, just to make sure that that is taken care of. Because of course you can link files to not just one ECA workspace to one review workspace. You can link an ECA to another ECA or a ECA to a review workspace. So you could have like a spider web type of linked documents, which could be broken across many different workspaces. That said, that is actually all for today. There's actually not a live demo for that. Just wanted to touch on that. Something kind of important. I think a lot of people should hear and see. Did want to take a moment and thank everybody. Wish everybody the happiest Thanksgiving that they possibly can. And then, of course, we've got Page One's happy to be doing this last few years. Is Toys for Tots. So we've got a number of people that have already ordered. We got toys piling up for kids out in our office there in Nashville, and excited to drop those off and get some smiles on some kids' faces for the end of the year. So just wanted to once again thank you. We do have something special for next month. We'll kind of keep that under wrap, but thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. And once again, happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays, and looking forward to seeing everybody soon. And happy to reach out if you have any questions. Feel free to hit the QR code on the left, and that will come to me directly. Thank you all, appreciate it, and have a great weekend.